Okay, so this is weapon design 101, essentially. So this is the base, just template for a standard Hytale sword. So we just have a rough idea of what we're working with. So we want it as game accurate as possible. Okay, so let's go to this file. So this is just me generating essentially some reference material. So we can think of maybe some of the shapes we would like to go with for the sword. It's a good idea to have shaping in mind. So we're just getting some inspiration right now from Pinterest or ArtStation is what I recommend. This is good for generating ideas. It's just mainly like material grips and stuff like that, like what colors you can make that handle and like materials you can make them out of. Because this is the process I do. I break everything down from different materials. And that's what I'm trying to look. I'm looking for like swords with handles of materials, just to get an idea on the patterning. Okay, so now we have that. We got kind of like a style of what we want to shape it as. So let's blend between this. So we're gonna use this. So about that. Rotate it, push it down. Okay, then what I'm gonna do is I duplicated it. I just want to scale it down. You could use a key to hold this to this all at the same time, but I would like to do this nice and slow for you. And then we probably drag it about here. Scale it about 0.4. Okay. That's nice. We're only going to focus on the front. So yeah, we're going to make it like this. Okay. So we see this sort of shape is very small. So -3. You always want to keep it eye on the number. This is good. So we could use this block, but for this we are going to use quads. Just want to hold shift to get it in alignment. Okay, it's good. Shrink it down a bit. Like this. This will come in useful next time we duplicate it. Okay. Now, this kind of has like a wrap on it. So we could take some inspiration from this. We're going to duplicate this. This just saves a lot of time. By 4, keep going until you see the shape. Now we need to make it almost square. 2 by 2, see, perfectly aligned. Okay. I'm gonna go out of this just because it's overlapping. Hold Control and Shift and just get it slightly on it. Like that. Okay. Back into first person view. First person view helps you get less distracted. If you look at the blade structure. Okay. So we see that it's got, we could take some inspiration from it. I don't want to take too much. I take about this much. Okay, I want to expand this by 1 and I want to just drag it down like that, essentially. Okay, like that. Looking, keep looking, it gets more consistently up, so I just want to pull this down and pull this down. Okay, so we got somewhat of the shape, it's not perfect. Okay, so now I want to use quads again, so I'm just going to duplicate this. Actually, we shouldn't duplicate it because it's not in the right file system, and how it works is the file system, so that might work on Minecraft, but it won't work here. So we have to move this one on later, but we could just duplicate to the other side. It doesn't matter. They're going to be the same anyway. So what we're doing is just micro details here. Just give it some shape. And we're just gonna, we don't want to waste too much space. That's the purpose. So we put it about here, because we can make all the rest transparent and just do detailing on it. Okay, like that. It's good. Nice. Perfect. As you can get for this. Very simple, not too complicated. Nice and simple. Okay. Now that is design done. Okay, so now the design is done. We didn't do this on video, but we readjusted the sky because it was not correct and there were issues with it. So we just want to create a texture. Padding basically keeps everything neat, and it puts like separation between the textures so they don't overlap with each other. So like if you were to draw here and then it would appear on the other side, or like on some other texture because it's colliding, that kind of fixes that issue. So we have this. So my thought process is where materials will go. So we could have a nice red here. We want to get the dark red though. Okay, we got the darkest red, but we want the that seems a bit. Let's try to find a common ground. Too bright. That seems good. Okay, so then we want the color, in which we want probably the darkest color. So I'm gonna put gold here. Maybe the mana will go here. Just do darkest colors because we're gonna shift them. That looks cool. You can use the shape here to draw shapes to save time if you want, but you have to. You can save time if you want to do it. So yeah, then we got like a nice shape here. We have it here and here. Now this one I want to maybe have a little smaller. See, this is why it's cool, because then I can adjust this now to where I want it, which could be here. Kind of like, we can adjust it anywhere we want, so that's the point of it. Okay, we can do the same as here. Maybe I want it to have double, like that. Or maybe I want it to go like this, like in the reference. Maybe a little less. We could have it like that. And then maybe we could have it there. You could even have it here. You could do whatever you want. So for this I'm going to keep it nice and neat because it's a heroic sword, so it's probably very expensive and it's been tuned this way. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to think where the light will be strongest. My light source is going to be here, theoretically, so it's going to go this way, this direction. So I have a plugin which tells me contrast. It's the grayscale plugin on Blockbench. So I'm going to go this way, direction and this way, so light's going to hit like this. So here, so light will be here, hits into here, hits onto these edges. Okay, so how we do this is we're just gonna get what we want in these colors. I might do a little bit of let's see if mirroring works on this. It does not. Let's not do that. So there's cracks in this, obviously, so maybe we want some of that crack action happening. You could do whatever you want. Accidents can end up as inspiration. It doesn't really matter. There is no limitations. It's just your imagination. I want to see what it looks like. See, it's coming together. It looks kind of cozy. It's nice, you see? It's got a nice shape to it. Let's give it more shaping, more definition. Just less cubey, I guess you could say. There you go. So you really got a nice infrastructure going on here. And then I'm going to paint this, So swords are, as you've seen, the iron sword. 3. So I'm going to use this as a reference and try to get 3 in the middle. Make sure it's in the middle. It's in the middle. Move it down like this. Just keep going. Don't think about it too much. You take longer the more you think about it. Okay, so we got a decent shape going on here. You can have it sharper if you want. You just go down more. You end up with even sharper. And you can go even sharper. You just keep going down more. But then it gets a bit out of hand. See, so this, in my opinion, the limitation is about that. Yeah. That's consistent, which is good. Consistency is important. Okay, so now we got a decent shape design. I'm going to show you how quick this can actually be if you break it down. So, we have to think to ourselves, where would the light go? But first we need to shape this. So, this is actually just going to be a quad rotated sideways to make spikes, kinda. So we just want that just very simple, crystal-y-ish feeling to it. That seems simple enough. Yeah, don't want to do that. That just looks gross. Okay, so that's nice. That looks good. Decent. Now, what I'm going to think about is the materials. This is going to be like here. So I'm just going to shift it this way. Think about that as the razor tool. The light will go this way. So I will put it here as well. Just with the pencil. It's going to need a middle. I'm going to put that. And about here. Don't know how to do that. You could do it like that. Okay, now the light will probably hit here as well, because this is where main light source is hitting. This will hit here. Maybe some, it went in the hedge here. It will, could possibly hit the bottom, but we're not going to do that. The light here will be, we're just going to do the same basis. We're going to make it equal, because on this sword, they are literally the same. Even though you would think half shadow, that's mainly applies to the blade and sometimes the handle and the bottom part here, where the shadows are more intense. So we're just going to get that, wrap it a little bit, and the light could come here, so look, see, the light's there, so we could just put it here for the sake of the tutorial. With that, see, it creates a nice shape of like, almost like a diamond-y shape. Okay, we could do the same here as well. There you go, you got a nice shape forming. Okay, so now what we do is we create a boxier feel, and we need to do this as well. So I think we start with the shadows here. So where the light hit would be sideways, because the shadows would be across. We could do some, I don't know, some magic looking thing in there. Could go like that. Could do whatever you want. There aren't really any rules to this. Could do it like that, you see? Something cool, almost like a wind charm. Something heroic. So we're gonna add a light to this now. I want to get more vibrant, because the point of this is kind of mana, imbued mana. could do that, show it's inside. Or we could make it even brighter. Like that, to draw attention to the viewer's eyes, we could do that. Like that. Then we could add the shadow here. And then we just do the same thing. There might be something here. Hits here. Could be like that. Like that. Just keep going at it. Obviously it doesn't look perfect right now, but that's not the point. The point is to show you how it can be laid as a foundation and then made to be look complex later on. You could do some detailing to it, but I recommend don't do as much detail in this process. Okay, so it's looking good. Do the same thing here. Like that. Like so. Could do a dot. See, it looks kind of like diamondy in a way. Okay, so this one now. So I'm not going to do half-half. What I'm going to do is, there's a big object here, so the shadows will be under this object. Okay, so. But we don't want them to be too, I want to keep them blocky. So we don't that much, it's too much. We won't create that much of a shadow, like that. And then this could bring a shadow up. So you could do in the middle like that, but I don't think it would. Because there's a gold right here. So I think it would just create the light. You could do like a wrapping. You could do anything you want here. You could wrap it. It's very rushed wrapping, but it's just the basics, that's all. Okay, so we got that. So we'll continue in the next part. Okay, so we're back. So now we've got all this going on here. I said the light bounces, but this protects this from really having any affection. The only light that's going to be created is the light from this gold is going to flash onto the material. But materials aren't super reflective unless they're like silky or like velvet. You got to think about what's mirror. See, gold, reflection. References can tell you a lot about how these reflect, so they're quite important. So as you see, this is very exaggerated though, but for the Hytale demonstration we're doing it kind of similar, but exaggerated as well. So the light could hit this way. Maybe it could potentially go this way. It's not exactly accurate. We think about the light here. We create here. Could do it like that, you know, to create the light here. So then we put light here. So you see, and now it's starting to really show you how that light works with the materials around it. Now we just need to expand this and we change it up a little bit. If you see, that's kind of how you do that. It's a fun trick. This is how we create details when we want them. See, we can do so many things with it. Your mind is the limit. It's also just practice if you want it to look nice. You can make it like that, you know? Like, almost like sparkling off it, because if you see, it's very... To translate that into this form of pixel art and paint art, because it's a combination of the two, like you said in the blog post video. We can take that method of application and do that. Then these shadows, just keep it around here. But the shadow, we now know, is a bit too intense. So we're going to dumb it down, I guess. like that. See, now it's less intense, and that allows us to blend it in now. Okay, so like that. We can put some in here just to put these lines in. The basis of doing Hytale is just a combination of pixel art and this, so it's a bit of both. I'm gonna make the light a bit more intense near the gold, just closest to it, which means we have to increase the intensity of this gold here and this light here. So its source is there. Decrease the value here. This is quite intense. This isn't very intense here, so the light would be around here. If you see, if you follow the lines, it looks very nice. Because that's the logic of Blockbench, so I follow the lines. Oh, there's some here as well, and you can see it looks like it's bouncing onto it. Okay, so that's how we create that. Okay, so you do the same process here. I'm just going to speed this along because it's the exact same thing. The way we're doing this is we're saying like places, like marker points for when we're going to paint it. And this just is incredibly helpful because it gives you an idea where this light is reacting. Okay, so we got that. So now I'm going to do some detailing inside. I just need to darken it a bit. So imagine like this, makes it look deep inside. We're going to do some here, see there's some darkening here, so some points here. We could actually now just take some of this, put this inside here, like so. There's some light here, so we put some there. Okay, so now we got the basics there. Do the same here. This technique is what you refer to as banding. It is known as banding, because you band the textures together. Okay. Do a little bit there, some there. Alright, that's nice. Seeing it creates like the rays of light. It's quite helpful. Now we got to do some here. So the light would go off here. So look, this is very dull, but this hits here, so this would eventually form here. Boom, projection onto the light here would form here and here, so it would project onto here like this. And then this would have a little less intense light, which is this one. And then this here would hit onto here. So we need a less intense, so it would be about the same here. And then this would not really create as strong impact, probably form a shadow, to be honest. Form a shadow here. But we want to make it cubic in a sense, and then dumb it down like that. And we could do the same thing here. It's not the same logic though. So here, from here like this. Anything here, there's not really much activity going on here, so it'd just be similar for now. So there is a little bit here, but that would project like that. Okay, so now we got a basis of something that could be considered a little higher quality. Oh dear, whoops. Okay, now we just do the exact same thing here as well. So this intensity, this is the new light we've set. It will change over the course of this because the contrast is just gonna keep changing. So I'm gonna put this as the new light, but now we just work our way down. This will eventually get blended into itself. So there's like a little gap here, so the shadow will form right here, but if it's gold, it's just going to be light shadows. So if this is this, this would be this in a sense. So it would just be the second one down. So we're probably going to put some sort of light here. So this would probably form something of a shadow. I'm gonna make sure they're not connected. Alright, so see there's a block here. Okay, so it would be, we could do it like that. It could get really complicated, but for now we're just gonna be very simple. We're just gonna do the basic outline of the sword. So if you see, it ends here, but that doesn't look all the greatest to collide it like that. So what we're gonna do is just gonna leave that open to about here. So we're doing both sides equal right now, just because we will change this on a lot later on. A lot. So this just helps you get the idea of the whole silhouette. So we're just going to pull this down as well. This needs to go in the middle, connect. So that's going to form here. See, something like that. And then we could do this, wrap it around. Like that. Basic outline. Nothing too complicated. We're going to adjust this a little, like that. Use the color picker. The reason my color picker works like that is because I've got it binded to Alt. Could do it like that, but I think that's a lot better. Alright, we do the same thing here. Alright, so we got a basic outline of the entire weapon, if you can see. It's very basic. It's basic in the sense of how it was developed. It doesn't look basic, but it was basic to make. Alright, so now that is like the basic design process done. Okay, so now we get to the fun part. The fun part is the painting part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a gradient here, so this will allow me to do the sword. So let me show you how to do this. So what I would do first is, these are all sectioned. Make sure they're properly sectioned. So cross guard, cross guard. So I can now use alpha stage. Alpha stage essentially means if I was to paint here, this wouldn't collide onto here. So what we're going to do is we're going to think about the light. We're going to make a gradient. So let's get the brightest gold. Let's make it brighter. What that means is this, basically. We're doing it inside because we're going to make this even brighter. So we're following the lines we set. Like I said, it was important to do this. This is going to help so much when you paint later. Okay, so now we can just drag these ones into here. Like that. And just this into this. See, like now we're going to have to adjust this to better suit this. Like that. So if you see this now, I'm going to just drag this all the way down because essentially it's kind of telling me that I need to, if I want to continue this consistently. So just getting everything I can, just outline. This really helps your process quickly. Sure, it can be boring, but it makes the process a lot easier. The boring parts you have to get through to get to the fun parts. That's how I like to think about it. Okay, so this is the one side that the light is heavily reacting to. Now, how do we deal with this side is the question. Well, let's see what we have. We have this shade, see? So we're gonna go face, connected colors, and we can hit everything that's connected to these colors. Could have done with the other one, but I just want to show you could do it by hand. See, now we've got a silhouette of light and half dark. So now how do we do this in a really nice manner is we're going to connect this one, because we want to connect the textures. Because if we don't, they're going to look really muddy, and they're not going to look like they fit in. See, like that? That's how we connect the two. Okay, so we've done that now. Now, how I would like to do this, continuing, is we've got this, we need to add some darker shading into here. Because how light works is the light source is above, so it's more intense at the top region. So the further down you go, the less intense the light gets. So it creates different shades of shadows and different shades of light. See, look, that doesn't look well. That doesn't look good together. And it's simply because these two shades aren't working together. So we'll fix that later, and I'll show you how. Like that. Just want to keep going till I get to about the level I think it's about like a feeling in your gut where you feel like it's not overdoing it. Art is all about feeling it. It's about feeling if something is right or wrong. So like that. That looks about good, but what I'm gonna do now is see. See, that's how we create that. And now I need to find the shade here. It's gonna be here. Like that. Because they're opposites, you see? So they're gonna look like light and shadow once the full picture comes into play. So if you see, looks like there's a light source coming and beaming, creating the shadows. This is what you kind of want to go for. This is the banding technique, where you understand which shades go well together and which shades do not go well together, and which ones gradient well together. That's called banding. You can Google it on Blockbench for further understanding of the technique. So let's continue. That doesn't look too good. So we leave it at that, I believe, and then we're gonna think about this now. We have this shade here. See, you can readjust things. That looks good. But now I'm feeling maybe there should be some light rays hitting some of the corners. Not those corners. The corners that are exposed. Like that. This creates the shape. See, it feels like something's curving around it. And then we use this one. So this one, not really, because they're the same, and we want to avoid that. We can create an alignment here, just to compensate for that, if you see. Like that. We create a little ray beam, showing it's being beamed. And maybe it hits the edge just a tiny bit here. I did not mean to do that. Okay, so that's interesting now. So what we could do is we could just use we could make it look even more fun, you know? Like, this is just your imagination. Like, the idea literally just popped into my head that I want to make it look even more cool. So we're gonna do that. So I don't recommend jumping straight into hand painting. I recommend doing the pixel art first, because then you have an understanding of where the contrast is, and it's basically guidelines for painting. If you see, now we've created something really cool. We're going to keep doing it. Maybe it'll be closer, because the base gets more sharper, so these lines would naturally see, and these shades work. See how they will complement each other. So now we need to find a shade that works for this. This is where we need to go darker now. So because we made this darker, we have to adjust this to darker, or it would not make sense. It would look very off. Same as here. So this is where I have to adjust the darkness, like that, and that's how you cause the shadow there. So that also means we have to adjust this. There you go. So that's where the shadow is created, and the logic is like that, and then that probably also means we have to adjust the shadows here as well. It can be annoying, I know, but it gets the job done, and that's what's important. See, we adjust the shadows there. We now this will now become the second brightest one. This one. This will now become, maybe it's the other way around. Give me a second to think about this. Interesting. I think it would be like that. And then I think this would be like this. And then we take the darkest shade to be here. Yeah, that looks about right. And now we also have to adjust this side. So the light is here forming. I know it's here, but naturally if the light was hitting, this big ass sword would project onto here, and this would project onto here. So I think it's fit that we would adjust this. So this light source would need some refinement. So we got to think about this now. This would be here. This would serve the new light source. And this would be the new light source. And then we just fill it in, the gaps with the darkness. It creates a new effect. We're just going to go with it for now. This one is a bit different. That's fine. That applies to it. That's good. Okay, so we use this. We could do some, I don't know, some fantasy swells, like that. But don't keep them too edge of the blade, you want the space to be clean. So, something like that. And it could end there, or you could continue it. It honestly depends what you want to do. Like I said, I think we could end it with some really nice patterning. Like that. So that's kind of like the basis of everything there. So we had to add more to the design level, unfortunately, but I guess the next part we will actually do the painting. Stay tuned. So you can add like just some highlights, but the main painting starts now. Okay, so this is called Lock Alpha Channel. What it does is, look, see that went onto there, but with this, it does not, see, because it's grouped. It just stops things overlapping and stuff. So what I want to do is I want to use the smooth brush. This is the default for smooth brush. So circle for size 5. Just want to go around it, just blend these in. Create a base. See? Create a little base. Push some light into there. Lovely. We will detail it later. Do the same here. You could, this is, see, this is why alpha channel is useful. Make the light go into there. It doesn't need too much. You could do that if you want. No, you could do that, but first you want to go about, maybe blend it in there. Don't want it too much to happen here. That, could do that. Could do that. This is gonna affect the metal though, so do this first. This is probably where you would actually just want the light to this to come and play. Could do that. We're just doing around the edges, as you see. Creating that little Hytale look. See, like that, nice and easy. We can obviously polish this. We could polish it, but that would take a long time, and that's a long detail process. It's just the basics on how to do it. Could do that. Could drag this into this, like that. You don't want it to be too messy. Okay, so now. Do that, just keep it nice and clean. Nothing fancy. You could do the detailing like before you do this, like after, if you want. But I was gonna merge the light originally, so if you're looking and see it's smudgy, it's deliberate. I wanted the light to react to it. Like so. Bring that light here. You can do so many things, you see. For this tutorial I just wanted to show you how the light can work like this. We just want to keep getting it. Do you see? I'm starting to make those like these things, these dips, but you can polish them with a pencil by hand if you'd want. See, everything acts as a base, then you just add your own stuff. This is very rough, but it's just to show you. Like, this take an hour or two if you do it properly, but we just want to get a rough base, nothing too complicated for you. You just want it to look polished, a little polished, you know. Just go around it, add some of this onto it. We will come back and fix a lot of the issues later on. It's not about that, just the base, it's all you need. I'm gonna fix that though. Okay, and then we can take this, we can put it where it makes sense. See, that doesn't make sense. The light is hitting across it, it will go like that, so, but it will stop there, and we'll use this light instead to continue it. So it looks like it's onto the side of the blade. And then we could just like that, easy. Just cover it on the edge, and then we can make it smaller. And we can create, this is where we create the opacity. We can increase the intensity of the value. Now, see, polish it. And then like that, you see? And then smoothing it out a little. Obviously, you could do whatever you want. I recommend, like, you can do the details at the stage that I'm doing them at, or you could do them after you've done the actual material, then there wouldn't be any smudge. But the reason I'm doing it like this is engraving, if you can see, just to make it look engraved. Then I'm just using these textures. It's a nice surface, if you see, just to make it look like really rustic-ish. Refined, but it has some history to it. See, like from a distance it looks engraved, like the metal's been scratched almost. And then I can add some light onto it, but I don't recommend it though. I recommend this has some engravings, so you could take some dark, but just not too much. See, it's a little bit too much. You can do that. There's so many things you can detail using your imagination. It's not perfect, like I said, but it is something. So what I can do now to get a stronger result is this. So now I want really white. But I don't want just white. I want a mix of this white to make it like gleam. If you see, it's just close enough. And then we project this onto here as well. And then to do this, would be this one, upwards, like that, you see? And that's kind of like the very basics of how to make Hytale swords. As it's not too much to do left for just the basic. If you wanted to take your like absolute time with this and polish it, you can, but this is for speed purposes. So as you see, you could do some engravings like wings. And then you can polish it up later. You could just simply see, you could just refine it later. It's not the final result. You could even, let's show you an example of this. You could set the opacity brush to this to detail it, and you could do this. See, you could bring this back to life. You could bring this back to life. See, those are two very important parts. This could come back to life, and this, see, and then the same here. Creating that shape again, you see. So yeah, it's a thorough process that isn't completely always ended. As you see. And then see, you can bring it back just like that. But like I said, I recommend doing the engravings after you've done the metal, for those reasons. Anyway, that's a Hytale style sword for you. I hope you enjoyed. Hope this helped anyone that struggles with Hytale.